Hello, coaches. Welcome to the August Team Rockstar Fit Zoom. You are in for a treat. These women have prepared to the wee hours of the morning to deliver amazing content for you. I read through their answers, and I truly believe if this were a produced show, this would be winning an Emmy today. So I'm really excited. I want to dive right in and give you a heads up on a little change that I'm going to make on this Zoom that I want you to be aware of. I asked each of the ladies 4 questions about their own personal journey and 4 questions about their business success and how they've been able to duplicate success on their team. Because they had so much amazing content, we want to keep this to an hour. I'm going to really focus on the personal journey, their personal struggles and successes, and their journey from where they were to where they are today. However, their content is so great that I want you to have access to that. So they have all of their answers written up, typed up, beautifully written, articulate answers that we are going to attach, actually the document, after the Zoom. You got to get to the end of the Zoom, get through trivia, then you're going to actually have the same document I have. I believe this is like a golden business plan for anybody out there who wants to have a thriving, incredible business like these ladies do. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to focus on their personal journey. And if you want to know more about what their business looks like, what their business plan is, how they duplicate their success, get to the end of the Zoom and you'll get the document. All right. So how's that little carrot? Let's do this. Let's do some introductions. My friend Rachel, let me kick it over to you.
Hey everybody, I am Rachel Doyle. I am a 1-star diamond that's been actively working my business for about 17 months now. I am a stay-at-home mom as well as a full-time Beachbody coach, as well as the director of coach success for Team Rockstar Fit. I live in East Lansing, Michigan with my husband Ryan and my 4-month-old little girl named Lennon.
Awesome. Yay, Mallory.
Awesome. So hi guys, I'm Mallory Burroughs and I am a mom to my 18-month-old daughter Quinn. I am married to my husband Greg of almost 3 years. We live in Petoskey, Michigan. I am a diamond level coach and I have been in the business for 14 months now. I was able to step back a little bit and I'm doing hair just part-time now and running my business the rest of the week from home.
And are you related to anybody on this Zoom right now?
And Rachel Doyle happens to be my beautiful sister.
There we go. Awesome. Okay, Nikki.
Very important part.
Hi everyone, I'm Nikki Schneider. I am a former interior designer. And for those of you who may remember, I was on a call last summer and I had promised you all that I would not take on any new clients, and that has happened. So I'm now a full-time Beachbody coach. I'm a stay-at-home mom of 2. Isaac is 7, Isla is 5. I've been married for 8 years, which seems crazy to say it out loud because I don't know what happened to those 8 years. They went by so fast. I live in a small town in Wisconsin right along the lake. I'm formerly from Michigan though, so can't get enough in the Midwest. And I have been a coach for about 14 months and I am diamond, very, very close to star diamond.
Amazing. So just so everyone understands the relation on the Zoom here, Rachel is my personally sponsored coach on her way to greatness. And I believe these are your first 2 personally sponsored coaches. So pretty crazy. Mallory and Nikki are Rachel's first 2 PS coaches. She didn't just bring them in with a whimper. She brought them in with a bang. Look at now, both of her coaches are diamonds on their way to star diamond, which therefore are topic duplicating diamonds on your team. Let's get to know a little bit more about these ladies. I think they are going to bust some myths for you about who you need to be a successful Beachbody coach. They're also going to show you that successful coaches are not born, they are created. All right, so let's go to Rachel. I want you to share a bit of a snapshot of your journey. Where were you when you started in your life and where are you now?
Oh man, I have had quite the journey over the past 17 months. I grew up a really quiet, shy introvert. For those of you who don't know me, and a lot of people are like, I can't believe that. Well, I was. Grew up in a small town, and I didn't really know who I was or what I wanted out of life for most of my life. I was really always a follower and not a leader. I didn't have a lot of confidence. And I worked my tail off at a job that I questioned really every single day, even though I did what I loved. But I think it was the toxic environment that I was working in. And I know Mallory can attest to that because we were working at the same job. And, that just drove me to really bad eating habits and drinking with Mallory.
We had to survive there.
Things were not ideal in our life. But today I fast forward for the length of time that I have been in this business. I do like to think of myself as, an inspiring leader and a leader who is living life and loving life because somebody believed in me. And that person obviously being Trina. She saw confidence in me and she saw something in me that I didn't see in me. So I really, truly thank her every day for inviting me to this opportunity because I don't know where I would be if she didn't. Probably miserable and maybe 50 pounds heavier from all the eating and drinking I was doing. I don't know. But honestly, I've never been more certain about something in my life. And I often, think really how cool it is, how all the different life experiences, the ups and the downs, and the twists and the turns, they lead you to your destiny. And I've really been all over the place that has led me to where I am now.
Rachel, I just love hearing you talk because you just talk with such passion now. And I remember when I did first meet you, I liked you right away. I liked your personality. I like that you seem like a caring person, but you were much more guarded. And it's so fun to see who you are today was like who was inside you and meant to be there. I want to stay with you for a minute because I think we'll just go right into, I asked you if 2 years ago, would you have envisioned yourself as a health and fitness coach, traveling to Nashville, and now here speaking on a national webinar? And I want you to speak a little bit more to that.
No, absolutely not. I just honestly thought that rolling with the day-to-day for the rest of my life is what was going to happen. Which is sad. I went from an interior designer to an esthetician and makeup artist. And I honestly, I began working in the industry of health and fitness, which was always just a hobby to me. And I just never thought that something could make me so happy. And I was once living in debt, a lot of debt. I had a lot of credit cards to clothing stores. I was living paycheck to paycheck and oftentimes asking my parents to help me out. And I know Mallory can attest that too, because we were right on board with each other. I asked myself, every day, like, how did I get into this mess? So to be where I am is really incredible, and it kind of makes me want to cry. But, for so long, I put on this like happy front of life is great. And honestly, it got to the point where it was just like exhausting. And I just was kind of living this like bad dream. And I was just like waiting to wake up from it because I knew like I was meant for more.
What kind of relationship were you in at the time?
A very crappy one. I was definitely just settling. It was one of those relationships that I was just settling. It was a lot of arguing, a lot of it was bad. It was bad. And I finally realized, like, okay, we need to start somewhere, so let's start by ending this, which I did after a few years of breaking up, getting back together, trying to make it work. And so I took that first step in ditching that one. So
I think that I want to, I think it's going to feel good for the audience to just continue with Rachel and kind of hear, we've heard where you were, and we heard where you were when you started this. And so knowing that she's in a bad relationship, credit card debt, toxic work environment, not great habits of overspending, over drinking, overeating, eating bad food. I mean, just all of it. Right. So this is where Rachel was when I met her. And I would love for you to just start talking to us about then, why did you start and what have your successes been? Because it's a pretty big dichotomy.
Yeah. I once I got out of that relationship, honestly, it was just a couple of months later that I met my now husband. And I went to Trina. I knew her outside of Beachbody, and I kind of just said, hey, I am getting married and I need you to help me get in shape for my wedding. So I have had some physical successes, emotional and financial successes out of this business. But as far as the physical successes go, like I said, I went to her. She got me hooked up with T25 and Shakeology, and I did that before the wedding, transitioned into 3 rounds of the 21-day fix with my husband. We got into really the best shape of my life. He was looking pretty hot himself. And, I felt great. I felt awesome. I felt my best self on my wedding day. And fast forward, I had a baby 4 months ago. And I have continued with the 21-day fix. I'm training for a half marathon in September, and I am continuing to drink Shakeology. And to date, I have lost 37 pounds since having my daughter, and just really excited about it. I'm excited to just get back to how I felt last year for my wedding. Emotionally, this business, like I told you guys, I grew up very private. I just kind of sit, observe, don't say a lot. My family, they're very outgoing, so I don't know why I got this gene. I don't know if that's what you want to call it, but last year at Summit, just to kind of give you like a mile marker, I felt just like this little minnow in this big, huge shark tank. And I was just like wondering, like, how am I going to run a business if I have a hard time talking to people, if I have a hard time having conversations with people? And, instead of doubting myself, I'm like, okay, starting today, I need to do something about this. I need to change. People always say they don't change. Well, they do, because I am proof of that. I'm still a shy person. I've really come out of my shell, but I'm definitely nowhere near the girl that I used to be, even a year ago. But I asked myself, what can I do to help me grow? What can I do to inspire other people? So you know what? I decided to get over my fear. I challenged myself to put myself out there on social media every single day, consistently. Something I was very, very private about. I didn't like comment on anybody's post. I had every privacy setting you could possibly think of. Really, truly, I did. And for me to really put myself out there and unmark all those privacy settings and just be like, okay, I'm ready that was a big deal. But I wanted to overcome that fear. And so by choosing to overcome that fear and challenge myself, I really, truly feel like I've immensely grown as a person and a leader. Just with the feedback and the people that have joined my team and in my challenge groups, they really look to me as an inspiring person. And that means a lot to me. So I guess just rolling right into my financial successes, I again really watched that blossom over the course of the last year. Last year at Summit, again, as just an example, I was making a couple of $100 a week, which is great.
A month.
What's that?
A month. A couple $100 a month.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
A month. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that was all great, but I knew that I wanted more. And so I said to myself, by Summit of 2015, I would like to be making X amount of dollars a week. And so I can proudly say that I am there. I have hit those goals. And I've been able to contribute to the house that we just finished building in January. I've been able to contribute my earnings toward a pretty hefty landscaping bill that we had to pay a couple of months ago. And we've been able to start a college fund for our daughter that I'm able to contribute to weekly. I recently just had like my biggest month. I actually haven't looked at my numbers real recently, and this may have changed, but in the months of May to June, I earned just over $5,000. So just goes to show you, I'm not bragging, I'm proud of that, but it does go to show you what can really happen in a year if you decide to just dive in and put your blinders on.
Absolutely. And Rachel, I love it when we're able to share our successes, whether they're physical, emotional, or financial. We never feel like we're putting them out there to brag or be boastful, but to inspire. Mm-hmm. And there's no other job on the planet that's legal, that you can go from $100 a month to $5,000 a month in a year, right? That's this fun. So I think that piece is pivotal. I think the piece that you and Ryan did just logistically did the products together, did the programs together. You had such belief in the business and the products that, everybody's journey starts differently. So coaches, think about this. Rachel was not in an amazing place in life when this found her. Her belief started to come from the fitness, the products, it was working for her. She was getting happier, physically stronger. Then it was like, okay, I'm physically strong, but I'm not who I need to be a leader. And then it was like, all right, time to break through this plateau. This is someone who wasn't clicking like on social media to literally stepping forward and saying, hey world, here I am. You might judge me, but I'm going to be okay with it. That's scary. And she is one of our top, I believe she has one of the most amazing social media. It's not just a page. It's she's sharing her whole way of life. It's a movement. It's a mission. And Rachel's amazing at doing that. Rachel, you mentioned that as a stay-at-home mom, that really you have to build this on social media.
Absolutely. I have to. I'm not out unless I'm lucky enough to sport my Shakeology tote at the grocery store and have someone stop me and ask me what is that? Or, I don't have the opportunity to stroll through the office with my shaker cup hoping one of my coworkers asks me what I'm drinking. I have got to figure out a way to, put myself out there and make things happen from home, physically and financially.
Right. So just one more thing with Rachel and we'll move to Mallory, but I want you to get this, that her first two coaches were two people she knew. All right. So Nikki will explain that more when we get to her, but Mallory's her sister. She and Nikki went to college together. So her first two coaches, also her first two diamonds, are women she already knew. So coaches, I know you think you've got to go find somebody out there in cyberspace or run into somebody at the mall wearing your P90X shirt, but you probably already know your most amazing teammates, right? Like somebody asked me once who my diamonds were. I think in my first business center, like 8 of my first diamonds were all people I already knew before I really started working the business more. So don't be afraid to invite the people in your life who you might not think would do this. Speaking of whom, Mallory probably didn't think that this was a thing for Mallory. So let's start with you. All right. A snapshot of your journey and kind of where you've come to today.
Sure. Yeah, I definitely never thought I would be doing something like this ever in my life. I was the notorious junk food eater. I loved fast food. I loved Coors Light. I loved just being on the social. I loved being on the social scene with my friends, and I didn't treat my body well. So health and fitness was never a part of my life. And my journey definitely began after I had my daughter, March of 2014. I was probably 8 weeks postpartum, and I was just really feeling it. Energy was a huge one for me, and I think any new mom can attest to that. But I just felt sluggish and, of course, overweight. And Rachel had been coaching for about 6 months when she reached out to me and said, there's this health food shake you've got to try. And for me, I just felt like anybody else probably did at one point, that there was a bazillion shakes out there, and how is this any different? But she just kept nicely sort of pushing me and encouraging me to give it a try. And I think deep down I knew I wanted to try something to make myself better, but I simply couldn't afford it. I was a full-time hairdresser at the time, and I was on maternity leave with no benefits. So investing in something like that was a tough one for my husband and I, even though I think he would have liked to see me happier too. So anyhow, Rachel actually took the first step by gifting me a box of Shakeology for my birthday. And I think that little voice in my head just said, okay, it's right here in front of you, and now do something with it. So for me, it started with the tools. I committed to 30 days of drinking Shakeology. I was so busy with my daughter Quinn that I didn't actually work out once. I really didn't even change the way I ate that much. I just incorporated a shake for breakfast every day. And by the end of that month, I had lost 10 pounds. So of course you can imagine, I felt like I was on top of the world. And that well-rested, good night's sleep energy that she'd been talking about for so long, came to light. And I was like, this product is fantastic. So I wanted to step up my game. I started with 21 Day Fix. I wanted to start exercising as well, just keep my streak going. I joined her challenge groups where I found this just amazing. I don't know. It's just such an amazing opportunity for me. My husband was in full support of what I was doing, but he wasn't doing it with me, unlike Rachel and Ryan. So I turned to this group every single night for those check-ins because that accountability was just key for me. So I was so active in her groups that's where she finally reached out later on saying, I think you'd make a fantastic coach. But knowing my life with Quinn and knowing my full-time schedule at the salon, heading back to work, I just thought this isn't going to work for me. But again, my sister just kept pushing me, but in the best way. And finally, I just said, I would like to give it a go, but my husband resisted me really hard. He, like probably a lot of hubbies out there, where, he thought it's a pyramid scheme, Mallory, and he was very against me joining. Rachel actually came to our house one day and told him all about the opportunity and what it had done for her life at that point. Mm-hmm. And I just remember listening in the other room. I had to leave because I was getting so emotional because I knew I wanted to do it so badly, but he didn't want me to do it. And I have a very caring husband, but I just think that he didn't want me to pursue it at that point. And so finally, I think he just realized how important it was to me that this would help me meet my goals and contribute to our family's income. And so he finally just kind of just shrugged his shoulders and said, you do your thing, you do what you got to do. And I think he just would support me, but he didn't fully believe in it at the time, not me, but it. So that's kind of how it all began for me.
Time out for a second.
Time out.
If you think that there's that you're supposed to be somebody right now to be a successful coach, like, Mallory, let me just go with what Mallory was not. She was not like a star athlete in high school. She wasn't the picture of health and fitness. People weren't going to her for nutrition advice. She wasn't an amazing cook. She wasn't out running the neighborhood. People weren't noticing her that way.
No.
She was overwhelmed in a job she didn't love, had a beautiful new baby, but didn't love the skin she was in. She was lacking energy. She felt overweight and sluggish. And even knowing that it was her sister who was drinking the shake and in the business, she still had all of these obstacles to overcome. She still didn't have the money to pay for the shakes. So Rachel gifted it to her. There's 1,000 reasons why Rachel would have given up on Mallory. Mallory had no record of success in health and fitness. She wasn't the picture of fitness. She had no reason to believe that Mallory would be as successful as she is, except that she paid forward that she believed in her. Right? And that is this thing that there's no perfect coach sitting out there saying, look at me, I'm the picture of health and fitness, and I can't wait to get in network marketing and choose me. Right? That's not it. And even once Mallory said, okay, I'm in, a lot of resistance from home, which we all understand, right? It does sound too good to be true. And it is, because you do have to work really hard. And her husband was like, I don't get this comp plan, and network marketing isn't for us. And we understand where Greg was coming from. And even when he finally said yes, I got to point out, he didn't really say yes. He said, fine, go do what you need to do. That's not a resounding endorsement. So Mallory really, really had to find this within herself, to have some resistance from home, not a lot of faith in herself, and just the belief that Rachel had in her to pursue this. So coaches, it's not as simple, and it's not handed you on a silver platter. It is not. Mallory's success was not handed to her. Rachel had to continue to believe in her and invite her and get over so many of the obstacles that you and your prospective coaches are also facing. So holy cow, Mallory, 2 years ago, would you have thought you would be a leader in health and fitness? Speaking on a international to our friends in Canada, international webinar, going to Nashville. Would you believe that was for you?
No, not a chance. I'm so grateful for just every opportunity that has come along, because this has just made me become a leader that I never realized I had in me, I guess. I was in that same work environment that Rachel was, and we worked together. And, as I began to see results with the products, and my clients at the salon that I worked at across the room would say, oh my gosh, you look fantastic. What are you doing? And I was so excited to share in my excitement with what was working for me that it was like everyone around me almost got tired of hearing me, which was unfortunate, but it's like they talked about me, they mocked me. There was just all these really negative things weighing on me. And here I am just shooting positivity everywhere. And it's just like, that wasn't the same level that my team that I worked with was on. So I knew that I had to make a change in order to move forward with this positive lifestyle. And it wasn't easy. I was there almost 6 years, and I was very emotionally attached to my clients and some of the girls I worked with. But when I stopped and thought about the big picture of what I wanted my life to be, I knew that that wasn't it. So I finally stepped back and I sort of went as all in as I could. You know, I still had to work 3 days a week to financially support us, but this is literally almost contributing more now than my salon job. So I know that very soon in my future, I can move forward with my true passion, which is coaching as opposed to hairdressing. So.
Which is just so people understand it, you know, not that all the details matter, but, you know, Mallory and Rachel were in a toxic work environment. And that's where I met them, by the way, was at the salon and spa. And it took a lot within them to, you know, Rachel had moved away, but Mallory had to actually physically leave that salon and start fresh somewhere new, where she's now a couple days a week and happy, right? Happier. Yeah. So just pointing out that you made some life changes, right? As you found that you know, people were not supporting your journey and mocking your journey. Like, how many people out there feel like, every successful coach has everyone on their side and everyone's cheering them on? Like, no one was cheering Mallory on. They were talking about her in the back room. Right. So, Mallory, let's talk about your successes. Like, I think it's incredible. Let's go through financial, emotional, and physical for you. What have those been for you?
Well, physically, I'm definitely not like at my desired goal, but I'm really thrilled with how far I've come. I've used Shakeology and the 21-day fix, which is what I really promote as a coach, you know, when I'm talking to customers, because I know it works and that's what works for me. So that's kind of the main program that I choose to work with. I wouldn't say it's my niche, but it's my well-known program, so that I encourage that one a lot. But overall, I've lost 22 pounds and maintained that. I'd like to push it further. And over 13 inches gone. So I'm feeling really good. I'm much better about my body now. I knew I just wanted to pay it forward and help contribute more towards our income. And that was a huge one for me. I guess it was from May to December last year as an Emerald coach. So that was 7 months. I kind of went back through because I was actually really curious. And I was able to earn just over $6,000
wow.
last year alone. So I had set my goal to become diamond by the end of the year. And I think like January 2nd of 15, I hit it. So that was really exciting. But now it's kind of cool to see how that's increased. And I went through again and looked, but I've earned over double that since January this year. So it's cool to see the compound effect in action. So that was a huge win. And slowly, my husband has really begun to understand the verbiage in the business, and he's come out of that. Okay, I get where if you're not mentoring your team and you're not helping, they're not succeeding as much, you know, financially that week, and neither are you. So that's where it's not the person at the top of the pyramid, as everyone likes to think, raking in all this money. Like, that's not the case. So he sees where you have to put in the work to do it, and he gets it now. So really, I have this awesome support system at home, and that was like a big turning point for us. I have been able to contribute a final touch on our remodel in our house. We put in these beautiful granite countertops that we wanted really badly. We paid off my husband's car in full, which was huge. And huge, right? But yeah, I've set a big goal for myself, and I don't have any sort of deadline. I'm just kind of taking every day in strides, but I'd love to become a 15-star diamond. That is my ultimate goal. And I'm just really loving the process of evolving as a leader. And I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone a little bit every day. I presented earlier this week on our Diamond Zoom, and then now on this one here. So baby steps.
Baby steps every day take you a lot farther, right?
That's right.
And so, Mallory, you had also said to me earlier that, you know, that just you are, I mean, we talked about your financial success, your physical success, which, by the way, I would say that 21-day fix and Shakeology is your niche. That is what you coach on. That is, I mean, when I think of somebody on the team who knows it inside and out, you know, you're one of the people I obviously always think of, because you have your own success with it and you get it, right?
Yeah.
But then just, you know, emotionally, just to wrap this one up, that, you know, Mallory said, like, I'm a different person. She's a different person because of coaching. And she said she's cut toxic relationships, made new, healthier friendships. and that she is, more bursting with positivity and happiness. And I can't say that that's who you were before this.
No, absolutely not. Like I said, the relationships weighed on me very heavily. I was very sad. I felt like I came home every night, and when I would talk about my day with my husband, all I could do was just, kind of cry over, like, I'm doing something so good, but it just doesn't resonate with anybody that I work with. And so I was definitely beating myself up. So, the moment that I chose to walk away from something that had no significance in my life anymore, it was like the weight of the world came off my shoulders, and I could just really shine and be who I am. Mm-hmm. So that was really important to me. And I had full support from you and my sister Rachel and Nikki and everybody. So I've just worked really closely with these girls, and they have just completely given me the support that I need to just transform my life. And I'm working really hard just to alleviate that stress financially from my husband, because he just is so financially in tune. He wants everything so sound, so I'm trying to just make life a little less stressful for all. So I feel changed. I feel happy. I feel stronger with my faith. I feel everything is just on point. So life is good.
I love it. We're going to move to Nikki, and I just want to point out one other thing about Mallory, because I think just we always have these ideas in our head that somebody else has it better, somebody else has it easier. And I remember my sponsor, Janelle Summers, telling me way back when something that just reminded me of what Mallory said. And she told me that, Trina, people feel like they have to build this business when it's perfect timing in their life, that it's, when they're able to leave the job, or when they're in a better relationship, or when blah, 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 blah. Every single successful coach I know has gone through the grind of this business when it's not easy. So Mallory was building this business, building her new self while not in an ideal environment. And I almost feel like that makes us better. When Janelle Summers, the only 3-star superstar diamond coach in the entire network, right? When she was building this business, I was one of her first coaches. When she was building it, she had a little baby. She had a full-time job in HR. She was a Group X director at multiple gyms. She was teaching a bazillion classes a week, and they were renovating and flipping houses. So nothing was easy about this in her life, right? And I want to share that. I don't share that often, but just the idea that she didn't have the perfect circumstances. Like, life wasn't like, hey, Janelle, you got all day to work this. What do you want to do? There were so many things she had going on in her life when she started it. So I've always seen that as role modeling for me, that Janelle built this when it wasn't easy. I built this for me when it wasn't easy. I won't get into my own right now, right? But it wasn't easy. And Mallory, Rachel, they built this when it wasn't easy in order to make their life better in the future. It's never going to line up. Stars aren't going to line up, and your day isn't going to open up and be like, now is perfect. Everyone loves you. Do it now. Right?
Right.
So anyway, getting through the grind and fighting through the trenches, I feel like conditions you to be a better coach. So Nikki, man, I really enjoyed reading your story and getting to know you as well. I can see how the three of you connect so well. You have, such a beautiful spirit. So let's start with, I love how you went back 14 years when I said a snapshot. It's important. A snapshot of your journey. Where did you start and where are you now?
Do you like how you asked for a snapshot real quick? And I'm like, well, let me go back 14 years.
It was compelling. I was in it. Go ahead and tell them. They want to know.
Well, really quick, I just want to say thank you. And I'm just really honored to be on with these two women, because I know you're listening to them, and even hearing their stories, you might have a little bit of doubt, but I knew them. I lived with Rachel in college. I knew her. She is not the same person. She's still the sweet, caring, giving person that I love, but she's for real when she says that this has made her grow. And I knew Mallory too, not as well as I do now. We are success partners, but they're for real, guys. They have changed. So anyway, I just wanted to give them a little shout out because I love them so much. But okay, so 14 years back, I will try to make this as concise as possible, but basically, I'm a completely different person than I was in college, and Rachel and Mallory can attest to this. I worked really hard. I was an interior design degree. I worked super hard, but I also played just as hard. So with Rachel, you can imagine many, many late nights building models, doing blueprints, all-nighters, which you would think you'd follow up with, catching up on rest. But no, we would go out with more late nighters, fueling our bodies with the worst things you can possibly think of. So I was basically the picture of unhealth. If you think of college student on their own, making their own choices, and what that does, that was me. I was about 40 pounds heavier than I am now. I've come a long way, and we'll talk about that. But even though my grades and everything was great, my personal life and my health was a big hot mess, to quote Melly Mitro. But it's true, hot mess. So after college, Central Michigan University is where we went. I got a job right out of college with Kohler Company as an interior designer. And I had these big plans for the coveted single girl life. I was going to start fresh, new, didn't know anybody except my boss, had no friends. I was basically starting over, which can be scary, but for me, something like that is exhilarating. That kind of thing doesn't really scare me. So I was ready to live it up and continue this terrible, unhealthy, toxic life that I was leading. But fate had different plans. And literally 11 days after I moved to Wisconsin, Sheboygan is where I was living, working on Kohler, I met the man that would become my husband. He was quoting a job for me as an interior designer with Kohler. And I called my mom and I said, I just met the man that I'm going to marry today. And she's like, okay, I've heard that before, but I just knew. So with Adam, I saw what I was doing to myself. I saw what my life could be, and I knew I wanted to change. So we met 11 days after I moved here. We dated for 11 months, 11 more months we got married. So I don't know what it is about the number 11, but it just works for us. So it happened fast, but when you know, you know. And he saved me in more ways than I can count. And writing that, I got really emotional, but he saved me. He really did, from a terrible, terrible thing. I'm trying not to get emotional, but I could have been a very different person than I am now because of him.
And how did he introduce you? We appreciate that it's hard to look back sometimes on who we were, but it made you who you are. And so that's something to celebrate. And talk to us about how Adam introduced you to fitness.
Yeah. So I played soccer in high school. I stayed sort of fit in high school, but you kind of heard about, what I did to myself in college. So it just wasn't a part of my life. And we were married for 2 years, and I find myself with 2 kids already. We move fast, apparently, but, I find myself with this family, and I went from extremely overweight to extremely underweight. I was not taking care of myself in a whole new way. I basically went the route of deprivation to my body. And that's another way I'm very lucky to have him. He saved me again because he saw, I was surrounding myself with women who were judgmental. I had a lot of toxic friendships. I was very competitive in terms of how I looked, like that. I hate to admit that, but it was true. Just the circle that I was running with was not a supportive circle like I have now. And he saw that happening. And instead of being like, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to cut ties, he was like, hey, I was up late last night. I saw an infomercial for P90X. I really want you to try it with me. Mm-hmm. So that was his way of pushing me to be a healthier person versus just like nagging me on what to do. He's very stealth like that. But so I didn't want to do it. I was like, I've seen those women, they're bulky. I don't want to gain weight. I've worked so hard, but I could see in his eyes that he needed me to change for our family. And I needed to be a good role model for our children, especially our daughter. I mean, I know like body image is for boys too, especially our little boy, Isaac, he's, interested in wrestling. And I know the body image thing is prevalent for wrestlers too. But like my daughter, I didn't want her growing up with a mom who's like putting like teeny tiny portions on her plate and like that's not life. So I did it with him, and it only took 1 week of P90X to change me. I know it sounds crazy, but so all of you who know me know that I have an infatuation for Tony Horton. And now you know why, because he literally, he helped Adam save me. He's quirky, whatever. His workouts are amazing. That is my soulmate workout. Because of where it brought me, I realized, strong is way better than skinny any day. You need to take care of your body. You need to eat. It's awesome. I can't say enough about it. So we completed P90X round after round after round after round. And Rachel knew, kind of what I was doing. So 2 years after that, when she became a coach and she invited me to a challenge group and then invited me to coach, there was zero hesitation. And I got lucky. Adam was a skeptic a little bit in terms of can you be as successful in this business as, it says, but he is a businessman. He read through the plan. He understood that really in any business, there's a top man and there's people that, are leading those people. So that part of it didn't really scare him because that he is the top man in 2 of our businesses. So, but he was, he's like, yeah, I believe in the company. We've had great success. I want you to try that. But you need something. Because I was lost at home. As great as I felt, I was, he's a very successful businessman, and I was shadowed by him. He was shadowing me. He never made me feel that way, ever. But here he is building his legacy, building his empire, and I'm just home with the kids, being mom, being homemaker, lost. And I had cut ties with those toxic friendships. I really didn't feel like I had any friends like here, So it was the perfect fit for me because I could do it from home. I could do it on my own time. I believed already in the company, and most importantly, I trusted Rachel. I knew her. I knew how hard she worked. I just completely trusted her. So there wasn't really any hesitation at all. So at the time, I was working as a part-time interior designer from home. I had a business of my own called Paragon Solutions. So I really did. I literally chucked all that out the window. But I was doing something that I really didn't love because, as I've alluded to, we do have businesses. We have a huge financial burden on our household. Because not only do we have businesses, we have lots and lots of employees, which means, to me, families that are depending on us. So I wanted to keep contributing, so I was working part-time as a designer. I wanted to get out of that. This seemed like the perfect fit to be able to move from that to being a coach and really living my passion and helping people find what I found with these amazing products.
So, pause for a second. Such great stuff. I'm like biting my inside of my cheek to not cry. I'm like trying to, look away. Like, coaches, if you're listening and you're not emotional about the radical transformation that can happen in this business, like go splash some water on your face and wake up, because these are, real women who had real struggles, whether they were body image or self-destructive eating habits that were going to get passed along in a family, or they were, you've heard where they were. And there are other people out there like Rachel, like Mallory, like Nikki, that need you to invite them, to believe in them, even when they don't think it's, there's nothing about Nikki that says that she should be a Star Diamond coach to me, other than as she'll share with you, she always was a leader. She liked being a leader growing up. She's very driven and smart, but not a great relationship with nutrition and fitness. Pretty toxic, right? That makes her a great coach. You guys have heard at Summit, turning your mess into your message. Her mess was that she was an overeater, overweight, then underweight, undereater, then feeling, shadowed in life by her very successful spouse, to being lost at home. Her message has become her message. But if we think that there's this like job description of a perfect coach, it's all of these things. It's all of these things. And I think it's amazing that the reason that Nikki said yes, just two very compelling reasons. One, she trusted the person who asked her. She trusted Rachel, right? And number two was obviously she'd had her own amazing success story in Beachbody. So coaches really do come through that funnel of, being a product of the product and seeing the testimonial. Rachel did T25. Mallory did Shakeology and 21 Day Fix. Nikki found P90X, and all of them on Shakeology. They all did come through some experience with the product, right? So the next time you're thinking, oh, it's just a 5-day challenge. What can I possibly get out of a 5-day challenge? Oh my gosh, you could turn somebody on to a week of healthy eating. Nikki's a second coach on our team, Star Diamond, on her way to Star Diamond coach on our team, who said she's been changed by 1 week of P90X. Lindsay Thompson, 2-star Diamond on our team, also said changed by 1 week of P90X. If you think a week can't change somebody's life, you're just not listening to the people in front of you, because it really can. So I feel very convicted about your stories, ladies. Nikki, 2 years ago, I liked your answer on this one, because yes and no, right? 2 years ago, could you have envisioned yourself a health and fitness coach traveling to Nashville, speaking on a national Zoom? How was that for you?
Well, I answered yes and no. And I don't mean that to sound, like, oh, I could totally see myself. But I've always stepped up and taken leadership roles. In high school and in college, I was always president of some random organization, or I always was willing to step up. So I knew that that's something that I was good at. I like to lead. I'm not perfect at it by any means, but it's something that I enjoy cultivating. So I guess I've always seen myself as someone who did want to be a leader, but zero. I had no idea that it would be in health and fitness as a Beachbody coach. Never, even in until Nashville, I had never left my family by myself ever. Ever. So, to say that I had some anxiety about it is a gross understatement. I was nervous, not even to go to Summit, but to leave my family. They're 5 and 7, and my husband was with them. What's really going to happen? But it takes a lot for a stay-at-home mom who's always been home doing everything to step outside that comfort zone and have the confidence to know that I'm doing the right thing, that I can be a leader, that I trust in everything that you guys have given us in Team Rockstar Fit to make me the leader that I know I can be. So no, I didn't realize it would be in this business whatsoever. Not at all.
So I can't envision that. I just love hearing different people's stories because, I've never been a full-time stay-at-home mom, and for your kids to be 5 and 7, and, I understand, I'm hearing you, so I understand how much anxiety or angst that must have caused you to step away from that and go to Nashville. And I just want the other coaches to hear that. If you think you're the only person who, fears leaving your family or feels like you're meant to be at home, you are meant to be at home with your family, but you're potentially in life also meant to find the best version of you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that means stepping outside your comfort zone and bringing back home an even better version of mom or dad. Definitely. Right?
Definitely.
So, I'm sorry.
Yeah, for sure. I know. And last year I was a coach for 5 seconds, and you had sent me a message and said, hey, you could still totally go to Summit. Rachel's going. She has a room. And I was like, nah, too quick. But yeah. I should have went. So all of you coaches who are on the line, just go. Just go. Doesn't matter how long you've been a coach. Just go. Because to be at home working this business, you can get lost in it. You can start to feel like, oh, I'm just behind my computer screen. I'm not really making a difference. But when you go to Summit and be a part of something real and tangible, and you can feel the mission of everybody around you, that is what the game changer is that everybody talks about. Being a part of something tangible, for sure.
Yeah. It's easy to live life right here, right? Or in front of the computer screen. But let's talk about, let's wrap up the part with Nikki with your successes. I love how you did these kind of micro and macro, and you're such a smart girl. So what have your successes been?
Well, I kind of started them out with just the little daily successes that kind of make my heart sing. And that's when I just get an unexpected post to my Facebook page about someone who, I've helped change their life. whether it's in a challenge group or coaching, whatever. That I love that so much. Having coaches thank me for inviting them to the business, that I love that so much, because you always wonder if you're leading them how they need to be led. And so hearing that is it's amazing to me. So just hearing health and weight loss goals, life changes, when someone tells me that their entire family has changed the way they're eating, or, hey, my whole family did the random fitness challenge that you posted in the group, like that makes me really excited. In terms of me, I mean, I'm much happier, much, much happier. And my husband and children are happier too, because mom's happier. When mom is happy, everybody's happy. So that's a big thing. I'm definitely healthier. My food addiction issues are at bay. My marriage is stronger. We definitely have more fun as a family. I feel like there's not, we can go and take weekends at the beach, or, we can do these things, not think about, what's it going to do to the bottom line, in terms of finances, because we do have big responsibilities that we need to pay off from these businesses. And, before it was like, oh, well, we really shouldn't do that because, a month ago we went out to dinner. We're now like, we don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. And it's not even about the money. It's about making these memories with our children and taking them to do fun things. So that part is huge. I definitely don't procrastinate as much. We've been able to do just little things. We hired somebody to paint our house for us, which before it would have been, well, let's do it ourselves because we want to save that money. Just to be able to do that was huge, because then my husband can come home and actually enjoy life instead of have to go outside and paint the entire house. We've been able to just fix random things that have been broken around the house that, it doesn't make a strain on our finances. But I think the biggest thing is, we have these goals about where we want to see our family, and we just purchased 20 acres of wooded, hilly, beautiful land that I'm single-handedly paying for with my income. And that feels really good because, before we envisioned ourselves not being able to do these things until we're maybe 50, mid-50s. And now they're happening a lot sooner, which is exciting.
Nikki, aren't you like 32? Is that how old you are?
Yes.
So 32 years old, bought 20 acres of wooded, hilly, beautiful land in Wisconsin, home of the great. Something you thought you were going to have to wait to do till your mid-50s. So I am going to move to Rachel to bring us home with it. I'm going to ask her a couple more questions, but I just want you to capture something from Nikki's story. I know sometimes as coaches, we kick back and we listen to the stories and we're moved by the stories, or maybe even cry over the stories, but how can we help you be actionable about these stories? I want you to think of something that Nikki said. Think of all the reasons, and I hope you wrote them down. Think of all the reasons why her life is better, and think of how you can start messaging that and inviting people in a different way. What if instead of inviting people to become a Beachbody coach, you say, are you looking for a way to make your marriage stronger? Do you have food addiction issues that you could use some support with? Do you want to be the healthiest and strongest you've ever been? Do you want to have a stronger marriage? Do you want to have more fun with your kids? Do you want to be able to pay for things at your house and not let it stress out your family budget? Things like showing a picture of her husband at home with the kids and say, he should be out painting, but my at-home business has allowed us to hire a painter. And then, of course, the idea of this land, and don't wait until retirement and wait until you've earned it in the trenches for 20 years to live the life that you can live now. Being an entrepreneur, being your own boss, and having this compensation plan can literally fast forward all the goals you have for yourself to today. And those are the amazing things that I just heard from Nikki. How many other people out there do you know who might be lost at home as a mom, or unhappy in their job as a dad at work, or stressed out with the family budget? This is like all of America. If you start sharing your story authentically and messaging and inviting that way, and not invite to being a Beachbody coach and selling shakes, it's just a different story, right? So I'm going to do one quick speed round of one question. I'll give you each 1 minute to answer it. And then I'm going to have Rachel bring us home with a little bit about your team's business plan. So the quick round question is sacrifice. Rachel, tell us sacrifices that you've had to make to be at this level where you are with financially, physically where you are in life is pretty incredible. Sacrifices. Oh, sorry. I got to unmute you. I'm sorry, Rach. Okay, go for it.
Sorry. Yeah, the whole, I'm sorry, am I echoing?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I hear myself. I'm sorry. I feel, it's just been a roller coaster of emotions right from the get-go. I like I told you guys earlier, I lacked confidence. I was very private. So opening up on social media was huge for me. I felt judged. I felt like people were rolling their eyes at me. I felt insecure, and I didn't know what to talk about on social media. I struggled with the balance between family and work. I knew that I had big goals in this business right from out the gates, but I didn't know how I felt about ignoring like my family. Which was what I was totally doing. I was very much glued to my phone all the time, and time management was just a really ugly thing for me for months into my business. So I had to have a little come to Jesus moment with myself one day, and I had to get out of my own way and out of my own head. I had to really just stop caring what others were thinking of me or if I was being judged. I had to figure out, the things that I knew would build my confidence. So really, what was happening, I was staying up really late, I was getting up really early, and I was just becoming a monster that nobody wanted to be around. So for me, something had to change. I had to change. Like I told you guys earlier, everybody can change. We're here to change lives and be a product of the product and offer solutions to fitness and to nutrition and to finances. We have to remember that we have to be willing to just put ourselves out there without wondering, what are other people going to think of me? Because at the end of the day, does it really, really matter what other people think of you if you guys believe in something so strong? I had to ask myself that, and the answer was no.
You're muted.
I muted myself so it wouldn't echo for her. So think about this. Rachel's sacrifices were, one, she had to sacrifice her fear and just be like, here I am. I'm going to do this thing. She also had to, it gets ugly before it gets better. I feel like that's like a secret. It gets worse before it gets better. Her life was crazy. She said she was a chronic coach. Her time management was bad. Sometimes you just got to fight through the ugly to make it better and to figure out a plan and to get on top of your calendar and to know, as Nikki's going to talk about, your roles in life. And, Rachel's sacrifices were just being willing to get uncomfortable in this business to then find a better groove. And she is much more on top of her calendar and much more on top of scheduling and, tackled her time management and put herself out there. So it's not always pretty. And I think if you think it's supposed to be pretty, you're not getting that being an entrepreneur isn't pretty. It's just freaking amazing, right? And sometimes you just got to make the sausage. Okay, so Mallory, what sacrifices did you make?
For me, time management's always been a bit of a struggle too, but I'm getting a little bit better every day. Nikki is awesome at calendars and all that good stuff. So she's given me some really good pointers to help stay on top of my game. So I'm definitely trying to work smarter, not harder. But for me, I gave up sleeping 2 hours at night and I get up 2 hours earlier. So I used to be like a 9:30 sleeper. And now I set an alarm and I go to bed every night at 11 o'clock because if I didn't, I could work for hours. And then in the morning, I get up about 5:45 now, and that's a lot earlier than I used to get up. So that's kind of getting in my workout, getting my shower, and at least just having like 30 minutes of quiet time by myself to have my coffee, read a little PD, and just like catch up on messages and have that me time before I have to head into the salon. Otherwise, I'm not going to get anything done during the day. So for me, it's crucial to my business to have my evening hours and my morning hours. Probably one of the biggest sacrifices is a little bit of time spent with my husband. I told him that, when we get home from work until the time Quinn goes to bed, like that's our time together. But we kind of part ways once Quinn goes to bed. So we're getting better at having a night for the two of us to make sure that we do something once a week. But he also realizes that I'm working so hard because I'm trying to build a better future for us. So he's very understanding of why we don't spend as much time together, but it's not weighing on our marriage. It's actually helping us in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
So my whole philosophy is the short-term sacrifice for the long-term reward. So,
That's awesome. The fact that Mallory acknowledges this and isn't afraid to put that out there, that it's a conversation in her family. It's not that she's throwing her marriage out the window. She's making her family life stronger by saying, this is our family time, and then this is my business work time, and this is what it's going to create for us. And your conversation in your household have to fit you. And we're not saying that what Mallory does or I do or Rachel, Nikki does is for you. But the fact that they're just having the conversation. And you know what? Goes back decades. My dad worked his tail off to be able to create the family and the life that we had growing up. So, it's not like he and my mom were hanging out, holding hands and going on walks 5 hours every night and, watching the Love Connection every day, right? I mean, they were working their butts off to create the life that we have. So hard work isn't something that's new. It's just that now, when there's not a boss or an office that you're going to, and the hard work and diligence is at home on your own laptop, it's harder to explain to somebody. So the fact that Mallory's having those conversations is awesome. I love that. I just want to clarify. She didn't say she's sleeping 2 hours a night. She said she cut 2 hours off of her sleep. You said it really fast. I was like, oh my gosh.
No, sorry.
She cut 2 hours off of her sleep in order to dig into this business. The early morning, the late night is, I'm going to say, typical of a driving successful coach, still taking care of you. But, trimming out some television. I thought you might say that. I think you've probably sacrificed some other things that
I completely cut it out. I don't watch it at all.
Right.
Disney in the morning with my daughter. I listen.
Right.
That's it.
Totally. All right, Nikki, share some quick sacrifices with us. You're unmuted. Go for it.
Yeah. So, it seems pretty typical of all of us. I think finding my groove, like Rachel said, last summer, I was just all over the place. I was always on my phone, always on a screen of some sort, just working. So, kind of sacrificing my own ego and say, okay, well, I can still work this business, but I don't need to be glued to a screen every second of the day. I don't need to answer that message as soon as I hear the ding. I don't need to assess all those notifications. So, and the way I've kind of done that is really dig into Trina's lesson and rock the basics. It's so simple. It's figuring out your 6 roles in life and scheduling your time according to those roles. So I love that lesson and I teach it all the time, reteach it, even though I know that my coaches have seen it, but I just call it, having integrity by owning your day. So if you tell your kids you're going to take them to the park at 2:00, don't work till 2:25. Shut it down at 2:00. I'm echoing. And, make your promises to them. And it's not even for your family, it's for your coaches as well. So that's something that I've sacrificed, just my own ego, knowing that I can do this without having to be glued to something all the time. Sleep, I'm okay with staying up a couple hours at night if I know that I want to take my kids to the pool the next day all day and not feel guilty about not working for 6 hours during the day. That I need to be a present mother for them. That's the most important thing to me. So I'm okay with sacrificing my own sleep for now because I know it's temporary so that I can be there for them and then be able to work on my business once they go to bed. I'm blessed with early sleepers, so that's awesome. Just rising above the naysayers. We all have them. We all have people who say, you can't do this. This isn't going to work. What is she posting on social media? I think when I first became a coach, I was like, I'll never post a before and after my sports bra. Just kidding, because I just did. You have to get over yourself and just do this stuff. So it's just another ego thing. You never know who you're going to touch. So TV, we don't really watch. It's rarely even on in the house. Friendships, going out with the girls. You hear it all the time, but it's true. You have to figure out what's important to you, and the stuff that's not as important, the stuff that's not in those 6 roles, just be okay. It doesn't make you a bad person because you're saying no or you're cutting things out. You're living your authentic life, really.
Goodness. She's so articulate. You guys are all just amazing. And I love hearing lessons that I have heard in my life and I have created in my, or lived and shared. And then now through Rachel, through Nikki, to hear that same lesson echoed back to me. that knowing your 6 roles in life and making your calendar reflect it is a game changer. And there's not a lot of jobs on the planet where you can say, I think I'll put in a couple hours at night and then take my kids to the pool tomorrow. That is, and it's like, I think that it makes her a better mom, that she can enjoy that time with her kids and then feel super purposeful and get those messages that, like, Nikki, you're changing my life. Like, that fills her up to go at it again the next day. So here's how I'm going to bring us home. I'm going to quickly share with you guys kind of a monthly business plan. These are from Rachel's, and they do similar things. So I'm going to rock through kind of what does a month in their business look like. And then I'm going to have Rachel tell you, because I want it to be in her own words, how has she helped foster duplication of success on her team? I thought her answers were really great. So coaches, hang with us, get your pens out, write this down. There are many ways to work this business. This is their business plan. A lot of it has come from trial and error. A lot of it has come from Rock the Basics. All right. So Rachel says in her business right now, she does one 21-day group every single month. She brings in a new coach to do that with her, one of her own new coaches, so they can shadow and learn the ropes. All right. So it's kind of a training ground for her new coaches, also continuing to help her still get Success Club points and her still change lives and meet potential new coaches. So she's always running a group. She starts on the first Monday of every month. All right. She gives feedback and constructive criticism to her coach who is doing it with her, so they can be learning like in the trenches right alongside her. She puts all of her new coaches in Rock the Basics, and she put an exclamation point with that. She doesn't want to reinvent the wheel when something has already been created with a lot of sweat and energy. Rachel has seen the creation and been a part of the creation of Rock the Basics since the beginning, so she gets it, that this wasn't just like pulled out of thin air, right? This is the real deal. It's been a huge part of her own success, and so she wants her coaches to have the same training. She hosts a team Zoom for her coaches and her team every other week. So thinking about this as a star diamond level coach, hosting an opportunity for your smaller team of coaches to get together every other week. She attends our weekly diamond Zooms. So on Team Rockstar Fit, we've got about 140 diamonds in the downline. Rachel is either on that Zoom or listens to the recording. She looks for things that she can implement right away. She is attending the National Wake Up Call every Monday, either listening to it live or listening to the podcast later, and every single team call like this, the first Thursday of the month. She always posts in her team page her top takeaways, so they know that she's listening and being a part of it and get conversation going. You've got to role model good habits for your teams. And Rachel is role modeling by being the places she needs to be. She has tried some of the 25-minute shorter speed coaching sessions that I've done with my coaches. She's done those a few times. They've really liked it. She's going to implement those every other month, which is great. She meets with her own success partners. They call it a success team, and that's a shout out to Jody and Kim and Tierney, who she loves to work with. So they meet weekly. These are all, women around the same level and drive in the business, sharing success tips. They are collaborating and not competing. She hosts a live sneak peek with me the last week of the month. We just have a blast doing this. We do 2 of them, one on Wednesday night, one on Thursday night. She always personally invites 5 people to our live sneak peek, and she always participates in the team cup. Coaches, if you're looking for some good habits of success, Rachel just laid it out for you. It is all right there. Rachel, I would love for you to bring us home with, what have you done to duplicate your success with your coaches?
Honestly, just instilling that formula. I've listed kind of my formula for success, what has made me successful. And so I feel like instilling that with my coaches to implement into their business or something similar to it, that's going to, I'm handing them the secret sauce, really. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying I'm a 15-star diamond. Is that my goal? Absolutely. But this is what has worked for me so far. And this is something that I have taught Mallory and have taught Nikki to do. And they're now duplicating that within their teams. And we might have some things that might be added to that, or, something that they might not do in that list. But overall, our formula for success is really quite similar. And so, it's really just all about, duplication and the ripple effect. So just by doing those things every week or every month, is going to be huge in your business, especially for your new coaches. So make sure you write those things down and start with a few things. And see, and just grow from there. Start with a few things, maybe a month, and then add to that. You can really do it however you want, and that's something that we've done over time. When I taught them, kind of the ropes of the business on top of the rock the basics training, of course. But I stress and I try to make sure coaches really understand how important social media is right from the get-go. We spend a lot of time on this, honestly. It's something that's really important to me. And I always tell them that, when you decide to treat this business as a profession, when you really just decide, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to treat this as a profession. Then you're going to get serious about what you post and how you post and how you look, because that is what a professional would look like. So think about that. When you decide to treat this not as just a little side gig, but as a profession, then you're going to get serious about what you post and how you look.
Rachel, on that, am I echoing? Are you okay? Let me just interject a little quick thing on the social media, and then I'll have you share your other 3 tips for duplication. But coaches, when I've been leading 3.0 lately, I've been getting on the 3.0 participants. These are emeralds pushing to diamond. Okay, this should speak to you. I get on their social media and I just look at the past week of their posts. And in 1 week, if I can't tell that person is an inspiring, motivating, on their journey type of health and fitness coach who loves life, is digging into personal development, is a good person, if I can't tell that in 1 week, then you're not taking this seriously like a profession. If you have all pictures of, just your kid playing with toys, or just being at the baseball game, or just being at a party or a wedding or whatever, if your profile picture is your animal or your child or a flower, that's not living your brand. So I tell coaches a lot, I've been talking a lot about making your social media look like a magazine, and you are the brand of your magazine. You are Oprah. All right. So what was Oprah's magazine look like? What does it include? Make sure that your social media looks like a beautiful magazine that you would want to open. I love the magazine Real Simple. I love I love lots of fitness magazines, and I want to make sure that my magazine, my brand, is easy for people to identify. So much work could be done on your social media, sharing positive, uplifting posts, asking questions, engaging people, adding value to people's lives, and not making a scrapbook of your life. Not a scrapbook of your life. Make it lessons and learnings from your life. Write that down. I can make that trivia. Okay, Rachel, go ahead with your last few duplication tips, and we'll wrap.
Sure. Another thing is that I always tell my new coaches, veteran coaches, whatever, experiment with different systems. Just because somebody suggests trying something that worked for them, it doesn't mean that it's going to work for, you and your business. But I still encourage, my coaches to try it out. It will just really help shift your focus to what you want your business to look like and what you don't. And so, again, I take systems that Diamonds share on our Diamond Zooms or whatnot in our Diamond page. I share that with them if I think that it might if it's something that they can implement into their business. So just try different things, see what works for you. Know your coach's goals, you guys. Weekly goals, monthly goals, yearly goals. Every week in my team page, I like to kind of have them check in whether or not they are going to be on that team Zoom. I kind of took the idea from you, Trina. I have them check in. I like to have them tell me who did they mentor that week, or if they're a new coach, who did they invite to a challenge group. I want to know what's going on. What are their goals? What are their Success Club goals? What are they doing for personal development right now? I want, especially if they're not going to be on that Zoom, I want to know what's going on. I want to be involved in their life because ultimately I want their success and I want to help them get to their success or help them hit their goals. Another thing, be available. My coaches know that with a new baby, my life is pretty much chaos all the time lately, but they know that I'm there for them and they know that they I know that they all feel comfortable enough to reach out to me, whether it's text, call, private message. They just know that I will drop everything for them and answer any questions that they have. But just be available for your coaches. And then just make sure too that they have structure in their business. You know, what does their day look like? What does their week look like? Are they organized? And this isn't even just for your coaches. I'm just talking to new coaches too out there. You got to get organized. Again, I was a mess for a while. So I'm telling you to start now. I try to create this habit with them right from the get-go, teaching them as much as I possibly can about time management and the different tools that they can to implement and to get organized. And then, of course, lastly, just stressing the importance of personal development. I have to admit to you guys that I was not a personal development girl right out the gates. I hate reading. I've always hated reading. And I can't tell you how important it is. If you guys don't like reading like me, then get the book on audio or do something different to help your business that day. Listen to an Old National wake-up call. There's many of my coaches that whine about not really liking to read either. And so there are other tools that can help your business grow. And so that is something that we really try to hone in on as well. I'm big on it now.
I love it. So you didn't need to be a personal development guru to become a great coach. You just have to embrace it to be that great coach, right? So Rachel wasn't a big reader. She wasn't like kicking back at the salon reading The Slight Edge when I met her. All right. But she's listening to it now. So coaches, think about this. Rachel is teaching you right here and showing you her, her first two coaches, first two diamonds. Like she's teaching you that she is creating her own business by looking what other people are doing on the team, trying it out, passing it forward, and being comfortable knowing that your business might look different from the next person's. But she trusts her gut and what works for her. Right? And so she's seeing things that work and she's passing them on. Everybody kind of makes it their own. Knowing your coach's goals. So to be really clear on what we're having people check in and be accountable on, if you're taking notes on that, we might do it a little bit differently. But overall, we're asking our coaches, who did you invite to the business or a challenge group this week? Who did you mentor in the business or a challenge group this week? What was your personal development this week, and are you on track with your Success Club goals? If they're checking in on that every week with you, you know where they are. A point on being available. Rachel is available, but she also is going to work on and is working on not being available 24/7. Be available so your coaches know that you care about them, but know that you might have certain time blocks during the day in specific that you are returning messages or taking calls. So you can have some structure to your day and run your day and not let your day run you. Having structure in your business and time management means blocking off time and working from a list. All right, that Rockstar Tracker is a great place to start. If you haven't seen it, go find it in the tabs on Team Rockstar Fit. The Rockstar Tracker is a daily to-do list of 9 things that successful coaches do. Ladies, this has been a marathon. You are amazing. Can you unmute your lines quickly? I have really appreciated this time with you. I know that we went just slightly over, but not much. And your answers were incredible. Your journeys are inspiring. If any coach out there thinks that they have it tougher, they need to listen to you and toughen up. The coach that they are meant to be, right? So I just want you to applaud yourselves, applaud each other, and congrats. We will see you right here in the Facebook page. Team Trivia starts right now, and we will get this document uploaded for you soon. Have an awesome night, everybody. Thanks so much for investing in your team and your life and your business.